And let me start with asking each of you for a very short comment, like max 3 minutes. I'm very bad in timekeeping, that's what I realized, but that's for another time. Up to 3 minutes for you to share your thoughts on the first part of our meeting today. Any surprises, any particular inspiration, anything you would like to point out from the presentations we've heard in the first part? Who has the mic? Yes. Yep.
Should I start?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Happy to see that you're all so enthusiastic about innovation procurement and that you want to bring it to the next step. I heard several times it is picking up, we see it in our countries, coming more and more onto the agenda, but there's still a lot of work to do, and that's where I would say that under the next commission, if we want to make a big leap, we should really make it a priority, so that every procurer thinks about innovation procurement as the natural thing to do, and it's not a strange thing for these geeky people who are interested to take risks, but it's the normal thing that you modernize your public services with innovative solutions and you help innovative companies to reach that goal. So that's my main takeaway, and that's also my personal view for the next commission, that we will try to make that happen.
Thank you. Vassilis, I think it's natural to move to...
No, yes. First of all, I'm glad to be the gender balance here, in this panel.
It also caught my attention.
So, yeah, I realized that innovation procurement is a feminine, let's say, issue. So, but, yeah, women's power,
Some studies on that might be.
But yeah, echoing what Lieve has said, is really encouraging to see that more and more discussions and projects and on innovation procurements are taking place. When we started dealing with innovation procurement in 2012, we were, like with Lieve and Carmen, that we were in DigiConnect, that we were the we felt the loneliness of the action. Now we are more and more, we are discussing more openly about the issues regarding the mainstreaming of innovation procurement. As Lieve said, innovation procurement should not be normality in the daily business of every procurer, because as we as buyers, when we buy goods or services for as customers ourselves, we would like to buy the most innovative things on the market that are tackling our needs. This should be the way that public procurers, public procurement officers are thinking. They are implementing more and more innovation procurement that will have a greater impact for the European economy, for the services that the citizens that they are enjoying in their daily lives, but also for the scaling up of innovative companies coming from the European Innovation Council. And focusing more on the supply chain, it is really key to look into innovation procurement as a way to facilitate the uptake of innovation and the commercialization of the wonderful results of R&D that we have in Europe. So I don't see any other way than more innovation procurement in the next programming period, as said, but also in the policies and the activities of the member states, the regions, and the cities.
I feel a lot of enthusiasm here as well. So it's not only on our side, but Vassilis, as you said, it's been a great development in last years. And Anne, you were nodding.
Well, I can only say that we saw in Flanders when for the elections, like all kind of intermediary organization, they try to push topics to the political level, to the future government. And for example, one of the employers organizations, so how do you say that, it was, all the employers, all the enterprise federation, one of, they passed like 5 key messages to the government, and one of the message was to indeed shift from subsidies to procurement, because for companies it makes a big difference. So I think by repeating the same story all over again, you started, I don't know how many years ago, and perhaps we can create all together a little bit more and make it happen. It's good that also it's also the companies who are asking for more.
That's a very interesting angle that I think I would like to explore a bit more. Minouche?
Uh, I think I'm a little bit different perspective, more of the innovation side. For me, so many questions popped into my head listening to the presentations. That is, when is something an innovative procurement? Or should we have one definition of innovation? And who is the one who's going to make that definition? What kind of regulatory how do you say that? Rules and regulations should there be on European level, but also on national level, and for me specifically on city level. So it was very, very interesting to hear. I felt really the urge to learn more the practical side from the defense ministry for how you're going to do an R&D and actually work long term together, develop, co-create, maybe even well, for me in Amsterdam it would be more like, how can we collaborate, not procure, but how can we collaborate with all the parties that we need to create a city that's future-proof. So I had many questions. Also talking about, are we scaling up innovative procurement, or are we scaling up innovation with the use of innovative procurement? So for me, I had so many questions. Looking forward to discuss all these topics.
So it seems like Minouche we could switch places, because I would have something to say about the co-creation with challengers and procurers. But let's give Maria the mic, and then Vassilis, I will come back to you.
So thank you for the invitation, and I completely agree with you. Many questions, many food for thought after these discussions. For me, it was very surprising and very nice to see how different projects get together to create this task force and to do this event. I think this is very good, and this is something that is really pointing to the scaling up and leveraging of all the initiatives and the funding. For me, it is very important the part of the network and the part of the ecosystem, and how different organizations can have to be on board on that and support, because it is essentially key. It is also very key to have more data and more information available, collected, combined, where not only innovation procurers, but also innovation providers can really feel safer to participate and also know the roadmap they will need to take. I think there is a lot to do with the innovation providers, and here we need to merge these two activities and how we support through the purchasing power the innovation, because at the end research is key, but also impact in citizens, patients, depending on what we are talking, is essential, and to create this value to transform cities, to transform systems, and to be more resilient and sustainable all in all. So I think there is a long way, but happy to continue exploring, and this is a good initiative and starting point.
Thanks a lot, Vassilis. You wanted to add something, right? Before.
Actually, at the beginning, when you presented some slides, I saw that the definition of the personas you had, and it was really interesting to see that you have attributed the role of strategic procurement manager to a Greek person, Livia, if I remember well the name. It is something that I mean, like coming from Greece and knowing the Greek procurement sector, This role does not exist, and especially in the Greek procurement environment. And it is something that should be mainstreamed in all EU member states. This is key. This is key. This is the essence of looking into procurement as a strategic tool. And this is something that we have to have in our minds, not to use procurement in a short-sighted way where we buy what we need, but when we plan ahead, we look into our needs, we plan way ahead, and we try to tackle strategic goals through procurement. So what you did, I mean, I don't know if you did it on purpose or not, but to attribute this role to a widening country, a country that is not so, advanced when it comes to innovation procurement is really important. And I'm looking also at Justine now. I mean, perhaps, structural funds could play an important role there in order to be able to enhance the capacity of public buyers in those countries to start that are having a lot of purchasing power through the structural funds to start also looking into purchasing of innovation, but also tackling strategic goals through procurement.
Thank you very much. Thank you for those first thoughts. As I said, there is also time and space for you to comment. So if you have something to say, something you would like to share, something, just raise your hand and we'll either me or Daniel will bring the mic. It's okay. Yes.
Maybe Lydia works in Finland or in Netherlands. Yeah.
Perhaps I saw the Greek name, and I suppose that she was working. She's working in Greece, so yeah, that's why my comment. If she's working in Finland, then yes.
Okay, Stina. Choose for running.
Normally you sit at a conference, so you're the lucky one. Well, thank you very much, Vassilis, and thank you so much for this conference. This is extremely exciting for us in the Commission who play that game and try to push for strategic procurement. I used to be in DG Grow before, and we had a very strong agenda for supporting strategic procurement. So using the directives and using all the flexibility of existing directives to support strategic procurement. I have no idea about plans or possibilities for revising the directives, that I don't know anything about that, if there is a discussion about that. But in any case, there are already a lot of tools and flexibility and guidance and good practice repositories and support tools across the Commission. They are maybe scattered, but you can find them. And now I speak from the DG Regio point of view, which is my new job for the last 3 years. Where we are supporting, again, the managing authorities of structural funds to do procurement well, with integrity, and with the strategic outlook. So we are the capacity center, the administrative capacity building unit, a competence center. We support managing authorities, so that layer that is between the EU funds and the buyers themselves, right? So the buyers are for us the beneficiaries of the EU funds, and 48% of EU structural funds are spent for public procurement. So we find it extremely important to indeed spend it right, but spend it also with this strategic outlook. And if so this is completely to the point, Vassilis, that you just made. And we work with all our partners in other DGs and services. And if I may advertise now, because I would like to very much invite you to a new project that we are just starting, which is how to support the uptake of strategic procurement. So green, social, innovative. Let's put it like that. By the managing authorities of structural funds. So if you are interested, we would very much like to have your support, to have your input, so that we can promote it further and put to the tools for the managing authorities. Some of them are very knowledgeable and very advanced, and I guess these are, the type of actors that we have here in the room, but some are very shy. They think they don't have the means, and we want to also show those shy ones that you have the low-hanging fruit. You can go for it and do that first step that someone was mentioning. I think Anna was mentioning at the beginning, right? Do the first step. It's like quit smoking, take up public innovative procurement. Do the first step, and you will be better at it the next time. So, yeah, let's keep in touch.
Thanks, Justin. I think you will have a lot of people interested in more in the project that you just mentioned. Any comments? Any more? Yes, please.
Yeah, just another question. Is it solved when we have strategic procurement managers? Because I can imagine, just from a city perspective, there are not a lot of people who are capable of doing this. So then you get to education. How do you educate the right people? Are it the procurers, people who have a procurement background who are actually going to do this, or are this the program managers and the project leads who are actually going to do that and have to be educated in procurement? For me, most of the time, it's project and program managers who take initiative, and procurement follows as a means. Then,
So it's not like the procurement specialists are initiating; they are
No.
more delivering the
Yeah.
tool to.
Yeah. Yeah.
mhm.
And I don't know if that's the way it should be, but that's how it works in Amsterdam.
First step is to start thinking of procurement as a strategic tool. So who does this job? I mean, it's not so important within the organization. It's the mind shift that it matters, to see the procurement as a tool where you can achieve strategic goals, innovative, social, or green goals. And that's why that it really matters in the end of the day, to view this tool as a strategic one.
I think we will. Yes, I see that hand raised. I think we will leave this. We will end this discussion with more questions than answers, which is perfectly fine because that's the good starting point for the networking over lunch or something.
Just to add to what Vassilis said, I think it is very important to accept the public procurement as a strategic tool, because for now, the public procurement is accepted something that is just administrative process, how to spend money, but it is separated from the social policy. It is separated from the building directorate in the municipality. And when we try to collect all these people on the same place and say, okay, now we should work together, they say, I'm a builder, so here I need a building. And for this, who are in charge of the air pollution, for example, they say we need to buy something, but there is no collaboration between different aspects. And I think this is very important, that all the people, never mind that they're public procurement, public officers, etc., they need to have a little bit knowledge about the process in the public procurement, how it works. For example, now we have issues to explain the experts that, for example, for the heat pumps, how to organize the tender for buying this, because they say, okay, I need this heat pumps. They say, okay, this is what you need, but we need to have the process to reach this and maybe to improve quality, or after that the maintenance or something like that.
I think I fully agree with that. What we see, I think that many public authorities could learn perhaps from private companies. In a mainstream bigger company, the sourcing manager or the chief buyer, let's say, I don't know what the exact title is, he is in the, how do you call it, the direction committee. It's a really strategic position, whereas I see in all the public authorities we cooperate with, it's not a strategic position. It's like, oh, people initiate things, and then, okay, we put a lawyer on it, and he will help us with tendering the thing, but it's not a strategic position, and that's a pity, because if you see that, I think 30-40 billion a year is spent in Flanders, and I think the cost of spending is, I think, estimated on even 20-30% extra, the cost of just managing all the procurement. I think there is a big, how do you call it, margin to improve the efficiency of handling all these procurements and also monitoring the impact of these procurements much better than is the case now. There is absolutely no spend analysis carried out in I think, the mainstream public authorities, I think, here in Belgium. So we do not know how we spend our money and whether or not the money spent is has the correct impact. They're just continuing procuring things the way they used to do it 20 years ago.
That's maybe a bit very negative, because
Yes. I put it quite sharp.
I'm more positive. Next Tuesday, we will have the final workshop of our Innovation Procurement Observatory, who has done, the tour around Europe, looking at how have policies moved to encourage innovation procurement and how much have investments increased. Does that follow with the policies that are encouraging them or not? And I do see really amazing things in certain countries where you would not even expect it. Like, for example, in we're talking about widening countries having to catch up, but some of the widening countries are actually taking the lead these days. You look at Poland, Czech Republic, they have put actually not only innovation procurement, but also green and social procurement as the normal thing to do for every procurer. In every procurement, he has to check whether he can procure a social green and something innovative, and if yes, he has to do it. It's a must. The strategic procurement has become the normal thing there. We have countries like Germany and France discussing, should we make allowing variant offers the standard way in every procurement? Because we hear often that innovative companies cannot even make an offer because the procurer has over-specified the procurement to ask for the well-known solution that he has been buying for ages, and innovative companies with more efficient solutions cannot even make an offer. So we have all these kind of things happening in different countries who are really discussing how to change the whole system to make innovation procurement become, in every procurement a normal thing. So that gives me hope that there is the willingness to make the next step.
Thank you, Louise.
Thank you. Building on all of those points, I think there is an issue. You talked about learning from the private sector. Some of the cases that we've come across in our interviews and so on through PROCEDIN are very successful, where someone has come in later in their career from the private sector into a municipality and really been able to make a difference. But at the end of the day, if they don't have enough staff, doesn't matter how strategic they want to be, how much they want to think innovation, they're on such a treadmill for getting the contracts out the door that they haven't got that extra capacity. So I think sometimes there's an issue around it's a particular initiative, you can come in, you can staff up, but to make it every day, then there's a staffing limit. And if they're under financial pressure to cut their staff, they won't get out on that pathway.
That's very true, but then you have to ask the question, why don't they get enough staff? Because it's not the top priority somewhere. Huh? If it would be a top priority, they would get extra staff. So the first thing to do is to make it the
and
top
it's not
priority.
innovation procurement specific. This is public procurement at large. Yeah.
Yes, I see more a combination on a hybrid role in someone that it will be in innovation, someone that it will be in procurement, and then in the middle, and also someone from top management that will really make sure that there is a strategic objective, there is a strategic agenda, there are some KPIs that top management or top companies or municipalities or hospitals need to gather, and then drive that and include that in the unmet needs identification and so on and so forth, and then linking some of these things together, because at the end there is a digitalization, there is some harmonization of data, so we need to combine all that. I think this will be a very nice position, but in between 3 different layers.
Thank you. Comments from the other side of the scene? Not at the moment, okay. What you see on that slide were questions that in our head were, or the areas that we wanted to tackle. And I think we organically did it. apparently the direction of discussion covered most of those. As we are, and I'm saying it with a heavy heart, we're heading to the end of this discussion. I would like each of you to give a final comment on this perspective that's supposed to come on the future. So how, from your perspective, the successful scaling up of innovation procurement should look like, or what would be your understanding of successful scaling? Ha.
Do you want me to start? Yeah, successful scaling for me would be that innovation procurement becomes the normal thing, that it is, in the political agenda, recognized like that procurers are not punished if they do innovation procurements, but that they're encouraged to do so, and that this ripples down through the whole organizational structure behind it, to staffing people, to giving them the resources to do it, to looking for strategic projects where to implement it, and so on. But if you've already done innovation procurements, then also try to bring them to the attention of the policymakers, because that's typically what helps to convince them. Brown theories, they don't understand, but concrete examples of how an innovation procurement helped to solve something, how it make things more cost efficient, because everybody's having budgetary problems these days, how it brought companies, helped them to bring things to the market. Please put those things also forward. And one opportunity is to apply to your European Innovation Procurement Awards. That will give you recognition and visibility across Europe and in your country, and hopefully help innovation procurement thrive more.
Very practical tips, thank you.
So I've prepared a little bit this question. So for me, is to create the environment where this initial investment or this power of procuring can flourish, can be more sustainable, and can scale up. So to create really the place to grow, to attract new stakeholders, new ways of funding, and also new ways for the companies to really develop the innovation. Sometimes they need time, they need to adapt their innovations into the needs of the procurer, and also to create synergies in between a more mature procure and a less mature procure, that they can have different powers of procuring, and finally to create new alliances in between regions, countries, and across Europe. Yeah.
Thanks.
I think for me it's to smaller the gap between procurement and innovation. It's a very big gap, but to understand each other a little bit better, it helps in collaboration. And going more to a sort of a value-based procurement, where you collaborate with all the parties that you need, which isn't just corporates and SMEs, but also I think the future will be to work with cooperatives and commons, and how to work with these really small parties.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Vassilis. I think for my part, we will continue our work here in Flanders. We will continue, assisting in all kinds of innovation procurement trajectories, in the hope that then, all these seeds will start flourishing, and all these contracting authorities, like Lieve said, will start doing it as if it's a normal thing to do. So let's hope we can that happen, that it is mainstreamed all public authorities, Flanders, and also in.
Yeah, I said in the beginning, I'm keeping the gender balance here, so ladies first. So, in my view, the scaling up of innovation procurement would have a three-dimensional approach. The The first one is the innovation procurement at organizational level. Echoing what Lieve has said, it would be great to see innovation and strategic procurement in general as a normality, as a normal thing in all organizations in Europe. This would mean that procurement officers would be invited to take part in the strategic decisions of the organization, because everything boils down to actual implementation. So procurement officers should be a part of this exercise. This is for the organization. Then for the supply side, because it is really key. Innovation procurement has proven to open, to pave the way, to open the doors to innovators in Europe. So I would successful, let's say, scaling up of innovation procurement would open even more the procurement markets to innovative SMEs and startups in Europe to access these procurement markets, so to have more jobs for in our continent through this approach. And a very important dimension, the citizens. We would like to see better and more financially favorable in the long term solutions being bought or being developed through R&D procurement. So we would like to, as a citizen, to enjoy better services from the public sector using innovation procurement as a tool to purchase or develop innovative solutions. So three dimensions would be key to me when it comes to the scaling up to innovation procurement.
And that's also a very good way to sum up different aspects of the discussion we had today. So thank you, Vassilis. You made my job way easier. Thank you very much for your opinions, for the questions, also for the doubts you raised. And that's Jorge, comment. Yes, of course.
Well, two things. First, I'm very happy that Lieve said that it's going to be a priority for the next FP, because knowing Lieve is going to happen. So we can all congratulate ourselves that there will be more innovation procurement in the next FP10. Now, second thing, coming to what Vassilis said, I would like to share an insight. We were in an event some months ago, and there were people from the procurement department. And what they say is that they wanted to do innovation procurement, but an innovative procurement, not just a PCP, just a standard procurement with an innovation side. It took them 30% more time at a minimum for them. And they are already overwhelmed with the next generation procurement. So regarding the scaling up, I think the major bottleneck is the time of the procurement department. And that's very hard because it's a structural problem, which basically requires leadership from the top. No, you are doing this no matter what, even if it's 30% or I hire more people. Right? So it is not, I think that at this stage we have the maturity enough to understand that innovation has to be part of the procurement. The problem is that the resources allocated for that are not enough. And that's very hard. That's very hard to solve, but obviously we need to put in thoughts about how to do that. But I just wanted to share that in.
I think we will also have an opportunity to hear a bit more about case studies in this latest second part of the conference today. Thank you for that comment, Jorge.